Cannibal Coffee, giving new meaning to the phrase cup of joe. This can't be legal to advertise. Presents the Young Southpaw Part of an Hour. Ding! You know that song? A rush and a push and the land is ours. By the Smiths, you know? I mean, I get, it's about PR. I mean, those two words, rush and push, are basically the same, except for the first letter of each, which just so happen to not so discreetly be P and R. I mean, I get it. To get your music out there, you need a promotional campaign. Public relations, Woo! But has anyone considered the possibility that it was a hint? That Morrissey and Marr would have liked nothing more than for the Canadian power rock trio Rush to cover that excellent tune, Push, by The Cure. What would that sound like? I mean, maybe that's what the Smiths were going for in the studio. They say to Stephen Street, look, we found the formula for a worldwide #1 single. We've just got to make this song sound like Canadian power rock trio Rush covering Push by The Cure. And Stephen Street is all, you don't have to explain who Rush is to me. Huffs off into the drum booth, starts rocking out on those fills from Tom Sawyer. And the Smiths, collectively, are like, all right, I guess we don't. But not Tom Sawyer. Like if they were covering Push by The Cure. But we're leaving out the crucial second half of the title. The difficult second half of the title. Because, maybe they had some sort of crazy idea, for some sort of land grab. Like the 19th century robber barons. A bit more difficult to do by the 1980s and in the pop music world too, where land isn't really the commodity bands deal in or even formed to obtain. You can purchase property without ever learning how to play the guitar or knowing what a paradiddle is. I get that Dollywood is a real cool place to go, but I'm sure that wasn't Ms. Parton's sole intention when getting into the game, But whatever their plan, they're just hiding it out in the open. First track, too, of Strangeways, Here We Come. I had no idea that Strangeways was a prison when I first heard that title. Being in America and all. I didn't realize it until years later. I just thought it meant, strange ways. Like being a little off-kilter or something. Like so many of us who listened to the Smiths back then seemed to be. But hiding it out in the open. Maybe if they had toured that album, their plan was to have the Canadian power rock trio Rush, keeping this description that the tour sponsors felt. I don't know why. Rush were pretty big in the 1980s. But the Smiths' plan was to have the Canadian power rock trio Rush be their opening act. But only playing the song Push by The Cure. I mean, Rush are known for their prog rock tendencies, you know? I mean, maybe not enough to have them be known as the Canadian power prog rock trio Rush. But nevertheless, they could easily extend that one Cure song to, well, a half-hour opening set, no problem. Depends on how much time they're given. How long the Smiths boys want to hear this every night. But I'm sure Rush could even jam out on it for a cool 45 if necessary. Get Billy D. Williams up there for some backing vocals, you know? And Push has that 2-minute plus instrumental intro. Talk about just being a mighty fine pop tune, you know? That you could not have vocals for over 120 seconds and still be one of the greatest songs of that decade? I mean, this is all conjecture, of course. I don't know if it would have extended to touring, you know, but it sounds rad. I mean, Johnny Marr probably would have joined them on stage a few times, you know, like he and Alex Lifeson are both such tasteful players. I doubt it would have descended into like a Crossroads-style Macchio versus the Devil guitar battle. Geddy Lee and Neil Peart just pedaling like an E-blues riff to show their distaste as to what it's all become. But I'm saying no, that never would have happened because these guys are such top-notch musicians, you know? Like Johnny Marr and Alex Lifeson just doubling up the melody lines, you know? I might hesitate to add, but Eddie Van Halen would have made it even better, you know? Woo! I mean, Eddie doing one of those dive bomb whammy bar things, you know, to kick in the vocals. That'd just be just the thing, you know? I mean, if I had produced The Head on the Door, I mean, that's what I would have done. I mean, it was 1985. Roth had just left Van Halen. The world needed something like this. And Eddie had played that solo on Beat It, you know? Why not do this next? All right, I know. You're all saying, what hubris, young Southpaw, to try and mess with the pop perfection of the Cure's Push like that. All right, I get you. Like when time travel becomes possible, I give you my word I won't try and go back and, you know, finagle my way into the studio to suggest, you know, adding that to the album. But I might suggest it as a remix. Woo! You know, for the 12-inch single. Oh, that would be so rad. But like with or without Eddie Van Halen joining Rush on stage, I mean, it would be rad if they and Johnny Marr went into a bit of Van Halen. Like right in the middle of their epic 30-minute version of Push. Like, I don't know, just launch into, whoa, push comes to shove, of course, you know? Geddy stepping up to the mic. Does it seem cold in here to you? Geddy Lee Roth, you know? But like when the Smiths themselves take the stage and play A Rush and a Push and the Land Is Ours, I mean, if they're out touring, who's taking care of this land grab? I mean, it's an effective cover story to be out on tour when it happens, especially if you're nowhere near the land you're grabbing. But wasn't it that they didn't really have a management team that, you know, led to the Smiths splitting up? Though, is this why the album is called Strangeways, Here We Come? Now that I know it's a prison, are they that concerned, you know, worried even, you know, about this land grab? I mean, looking at this from a different angle, I mean, The Cure are one of the bands that I've still never managed to see. And not for lack of trying either. Just hasn't happened yet. And they play for like 3.5 hours. I mean, you can't play that long without including a couple of Rush covers, I would imagine. I mean, I wonder which ones they do. Limelight, maybe. The Cure had that orange film. Green and orange, you know, secondary colors. Real nice, you know, makes sense. I mean, I'd love to hear them do YYZ. Who wouldn't? And again, if you're like watching The Cure and Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, Johnny Marr, and Eddie Van Halen show up, that's going to be real rad. I hope that's not what I've been missing. Like it happens every night. It's even written in the tour program. I better get Cure tickets pronto. Presto, as Rush would say. Man, do you think the Smiths will ever get back together, though? I mean, how fast would those tickets sell out? And, like, you know that joke in Mary Poppins, I know a man with a wooden leg named Smith? Woo! Imagine if the Smiths did get back together just to perform that scene from the movie. Just like a little skit, That's it. No songs, nothing else. Not even bringing Rush and The Cure on stage for their own version of Push. Let alone Eddie Van Halen. But like they could have an encore too because the joke is repeated later on in the movie, Where the son, Michael, tells it to the bankers. I mean, I'd pay money to see this, Especially if they did manage that land grab and were performing on their own turf. Much like Dollywood. They've got a theater going on the property. It's like a destination gig thing, They only have to work those two scenes can't be more than 10 minutes tops. Throw in getting to the venue and whatnot. Work like a half hour a day for the whole summer season. Just raking in the dough. Heck, get enough to buy more land and set the Cure up with their own residency, doing all the Rush covers they desire.